Hello, this is Gail Fry, and this is EDL 854 Module 12 Case Study. The Budget Debacle. We're going to summarize first. This is a school, Briardale Elementary, and the school principal's name is Carlos Santos. The school is in the center of the town, and it is in the middle of a diverse community. It serves as a community center at times for various events. It's one of 6 elementary schools and has about 600 students. There are foundations in all of the schools in this district, and those are kind of like the PTO or PTA of those schools. They help they're formed to raise money for the schools, and they do fundraisers, and they're headed by the parents. The funds raised are handed over to the principal, and then they're put into the budget for supplementary curriculum programs recommended by the foundation. For this year's fundraiser, a parent new to this community, Mr. Barely, is in charge of the fundraiser. He's motivated to raise money to bring innovative curriculum programs to the school. And he also is motivated because he's kind of competitive, it sounds like. He's got a previous fraternity brother from Harvard that's in charge of another school foundation. And so he's kind of competing against him, I think, to figure out if he can make more money. And that person also beat him in a previous election at Harvard, so it's important to him that he win this or make more money in this fundraiser. Mr. Santos did give Mr. Barely an orientation of his position and kind of told him about, what he needs to be doing and what his position is. And Mr. Barely came up with the unique idea of raising a lot of money by selling raffle tickets as a way to win cash. He did propose to the foundation this idea, and they were in agreement to do that. So on the night of the raffle, after all the tickets were sold, everyone was gathered and really excited to see who won what cash, and we thought it was going to be a successful fundraiser. And it came as a surprise that someone in this community had tipped off the sheriff, and he showed up to ask Mr. Barely to accompany him to the police station. Mr. Barely was then booked and then released. He was charged with a misdemeanor and then put on probation for his role in the raffle for cash event. Mr. Santos, the principal, was very embarrassed about the situation, and it was put on the front page of the local newspaper. So who? We have Mr. Barely, who came up with a unique idea, which was approved by both Mr. Santos and the foundation to raise money. He decided to do a raffle for cash event, which he had witnessed before, and it had made a lot of money. So he was excited about that. It was a raffle for cash event to raise money for the school for innovative curriculum, and it was supposed to be an equitable resource plan that would support school development and improvement. Where? The raffle was taking place at Briardale Elementary School, and that's one of 6 elementary schools in this district. Legal and ethical issues. Raffles and lotteries are very similar. They both have 3 defining elements: money paid for tickets, prizes with monetary value, and then the winner is drawn by luck. Lotteries, on the other hand, are prize drawings where people pay money for a chance to win. They are heavily regulated and can only be run by the government. Raffles are run by charities or small groups, and they have to meet certain criteria and must be approved prior to the event. Alabama, Utah, and Hawaii prohibit raffles altogether. Other legal issues. When holding a raffle, there are both federal and state regulations that must be followed. Permits must be obtained, and tax laws must be followed. You must get a license to hold a raffle if there are more than 2 public raffles in a year, and gross revenue exceeds $5,000. When you apply for a license, you must show significant progress in accomplishing the stated purpose for the raffle 12 months prior to obtaining the license. No single prize should exceed $40,000, and no group prize should exceed $300,000 in a year. Ethical issues. Understanding capacity. It's clear that this is a case where the law and deceit were not done purposely. This was a matter of the principal not understanding and using his capacity to inform Mr. Barely of all the laws and regulations and the foundation, as well as Mr. Barely not researching their plan to hold a raffle for cash event to check if it was legal in their state and what regulations they would need to follow. I think that the foundation should be headed by parents. I think it's just like the PTO or PTA, it should be headed by parents. So, but I also think that there should be supervision by the principal. And the way he could supervise is to make sure everything's legal, but he also needs to know about the legalities. And that can be done by training and by researching. Um, I do think it is the responsibility of the principal to ensure that foundations and other organizations that raise funds to support local schools are held accountable. Um, and I think it's his responsibility to be accountable for that as well. And then I also feel like there should be an audit done. That should be done by the principal and the bookkeeper. Synthesize. Mr. Bailey is in charge of the foundation for Briardale Elementary, which holds a raffle for cash event that is illegal either due to the state he is in prohibiting it or because he did not get a license and follow the guidelines for having a raffle in his state. Review and prioritize. A parent has been booked and charged with a misdemeanor due to not following state laws regarding raffle for cash events. People involved. Mr. Barely is a parent and president of Briardale Elementary. He came up with and commenced the raffle for cash event. He unknowingly had this event illegally by not following state laws and was booked and charged with a misdemeanor. Mr. Santos is principal at Briardale Elementary. He did not use his capacity for understanding to understand or inform Mr. Bailey of laws and regulations pertaining to the raffle in their state. Foundation members approved the raffle for cash event. They did not evaluate the laws or regulations in their state prior to approving the raffle for cash event. An unknown community member tipped the sheriff off prior to the raffle for cash event. Place. So that took place at Briardale Elementary, a school where the community is very involved. It is where many events happen and is often used as a community center. Program. Briardale Elementary, as well as all of the other local elementary schools' curriculum is based on basic skills. Foundations at each school are set up to raise funds for supplemental curriculum and materials. At Briardale, this particular fundraiser was intended to raise money for some innovative supplemental curriculum. Options and possible consequences. Do nothing. That would be option one. Let time pass and everything will be fine. The consequence, families may become distrustful of Mr. Santos and the school and become unsupportive, which would result in a lack of advocates and resources for support for the school. Option two, have a meeting with parents and stakeholders, letting them know this was a mistake and this will never happen in the future. Let them know as their principal you will be more informed on the laws and regulations regarding fundraising. Consequence. Parents may be angry that you did not issue an apology and you are not giving them resource plans that align with your school goals. How are you going to be more informed and help the foundation be more informed? Or option three, meet with the foundation. Parents apologize about not being informed, and both you and these parents will read up on the laws and regulations for fundraising. Apologize to Mr. Barely about not informing him about the laws and regulations and inform him about these laws and regulations. Meet with the parents and stakeholders about the importance of knowing these laws and regulations. Explain to them what happened and let them know you and the foundation have gone over all laws and regulations and this will never happen again. And the consequence, some parents and stakeholders will still be angry and distrustful, and this will not be a part of the school. And they will not be a part of the school. However, with honesty, many will be forgiving and understanding because they too were unaware of these laws and regulations. Evaluate the options. In options one, no apologies, no one understands what happened, and distrust and anger form. In option two, the principal takes responsibility and says he will do better. However, there is nothing to back it up. On the other hand, in option three, there is an apology to parents, stakeholders, the foundation, and Mr. Barely, and then taking action to not let the situation happen again. There is honesty in this option, which helps rebuild trust and helps people understand the situation better. Choose the best option. I chose option 3 as the best option. I feel like honesty is always the best policy. Also, issuing an apology lets people know you are human and you do make mistakes, but that you are willing to learn from them. This also takes some of the blame off of Mr. Barely, who has to live in this community. He has to be a part of the community, and I think that would be hard once you're arrested in front of everybody that you know, or basically asked to come down to the police or the police station and charged. This shows as a principle that you are ethically advocating for support of your school. Implementing your decision. First, I'm going to meet with Mr. Barely privately and issue an apology. Explain that you did not know the laws and regulations, and that together with the foundation, you're willing to sit down and go over these laws and regulations. Then we're going to meet with the foundation, Mr. Barely, who should also be there to discuss the laws and regulations for raffles, help them understand these laws, and make sure you all collaborate on future ideas for fundraisers so you all know laws and regulations. And then have a school meeting with parents and let them know what happened and why. Be honest with them, let them know that you and the foundation have gone over all the laws and regulations, and that you will be collaborating each time prior to a fundraiser to make sure all laws and regulations are being followed. And be open for questions, concerns, and some backlash. All right. I have completed my presentation. These are my references that I used today. Thank you for listening.